Keep adding value, like you said. Keep being more valuable. Keep showing up. Keep being on time. Keep being early. Keep staying late. Keep putting your hand up when they're asking somebody to come in on Saturday. Keep doing that. Keep learning, and you'll see a major difference. I know it for a fact because I did it. Again, what up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Talk Hard Podcast, baby. Well, we like to talk hard about everything, man.
So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. That's
where are we?
Let's talk about
lost.
it. We are live in Birmingham, Alabama, baby.
Gosh,
we have a great show.
We always have a great show.
We haven't actually. You know what? I'm
being negative Nancy today.
I'm tired of lying to you guys. Don't watch this show. Everybody, tune out right now. I love you guys. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Talk Hard Podcast. I'm going to drink some coffee while Mr. Brian Gordon over here tells you what we're talking about today.
Well, I mean, I kind of got to address not even an elephant in the room.
I'm not talking about that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
here we go, guys.
This one is a little. I got to navigate through the words in my brain before they come out of my mouth, and I don't really have a filter there, so it gets kind of difficult.
So it's going to be rough. Yeah.
If I've offended you, good. You should pay attention because clearly I'm striking some emotion in your body that's making you feel a certain way about something. But parents, if you have a child in the age of 13 to 22,
I'm already scared.
From 13 to 22, please grab that infant by the ear and let's put some actual morals and code into these kids because it is way out of control.
All right. So I got to interject.
Way out of control.
I got to interject because the problem with that scenario is that's assuming that the parents have any of those values. And that's the problem.
No, that's why I'm speaking to the ones with no value, saying you're causing problems.
Yes. I'm
trying to understand where the lack of parenting became a thing.
Well, I mean,
when did that become a normal thing? When did people stop caring about their kids? When? Because please, I am open to having a conversation where I am, for lack of better terms, wrong in your eyes, and I would love to get into this with somebody. Why don't you have time for your kids? You're not making the hustle. You're not working your butt off. You're not making a ton of money. So what? What's happening? Why are we
What do you see? What do you see happening?
You mean besides the 350 plus kids that took over Chicago this weekend?
Tell me about it. They
were jumping on cars. They were breaking innocent people's fancy cars, non-fancy, didn't even matter. I don't care if you're driving a $600 Honda Accord. Sorry, Chris.
Wah, wah, wah. That's where that sound effect would have been great.
I don't understand the sheer amount of disrespect. And so I'm just going to let you know, if your kids come to my neighborhood and jump on my car, it is not going to go over very well.
Well, you said Chicago, right?
That was one. It happened in San Bernardino, I believe, where they literally broke into an Arco and stole $10,000. I didn't even know gas stations had 10,000.
And that's California.
Oh, I know the political stand, but you said we weren't going political on this.
I don't know. I don't know much about the situation because I've been tuned out.
I can't get away from it. Okay, so my wife left this weekend and she went to a hair show, right? So I trust her, no worries, but clearly there's different laws there. There's different laws there. So no, she wasn't because it's not worth it. Illinois doesn't honor our permits. Chicago specifically, I believe there's parts of Illinois you can, but Chicago and in that surrounding area you can't. What are you going to do? So I turn on the news Saturday morning or Sunday morning and see a big takeover in Chicago where they're breaking windows. They're breaking into stores.
What are they doing it for? What's their agenda?
No idea. No one knew.
Chris, look it up.
I still haven't been able to find out, so please help me figure this out because I don't get it.
Does he not know what you're talking about?
I was looking at your face.
Chicago? Kids take over Chicago. Just type that and Google, in YouTube, and anywhere, and it was...
What's Joe Rogan's tech guy's name? We need to get one of him.
Jesus.
His
name's Chris.
His name's Chris. Chris would have had it up on the screen.
So these kids take over Chicago, but if you want to take politics into it, fine. Here's my pushback.
There's no crime.
Here's my pushback.
There's no consequences for this stuff, right? Am I understanding that correctly?
What do politics have to do with genuine parenting? And look, you want to go on the lines of it's bad to beat your children. My dad used to whoop my butt. Me and him are best friends, so I'll push back on that one all day long because I deserved it.
Me
right?
too.
We have these kids now believing they don't actually deserve it. And what is going to happen when they get out in the real world and you get to 26, 27 years old and you still got that mouth on you and you walk into the wrong restaurant and you say something to the wrong dude, things are going to go a little different because that person doesn't care. And that's what my dad prepped me for.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just trying to understand it's out of control disrespect. Like there are no repercussions. Now I knew this was coming when the trophies became a thing. However, there's still parents. Like my trophies didn't matter to me because I learned my core values at home.
Well, I think it's safe to say that I don't know. I don't know where these kids came from. I would assume that they probably don't have quote unquote parents. You know what I mean?
Who's paying their bills?
I'm sure there's somebody, right? But you know what I mean? That doesn't make you a parent.
Oh, for sure. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's not two parents in the home. And if there is two parents, both the parents got to be working, you know. And
both my parents worked. Well, my mom worked for my dad, but she at one point was very, very busy too. My dad was gone all the time. My dad was gone a lot of my childhood.
Right.
But when I got like grounded, I doubt anybody even knows what I'm talking about. So when you get grounded or put on restriction, it's a punishment for doing something wrong in your home.
And then you stick to it.
In which time you have to do something you don't like to do. So I used to have to carpool with my dad because California traffic sucks. So after school, he'd pick me up and I'd be carpooling for the rest of the night. I get home at like 9 o'clock at night trying to read inside this cheap Ford Ranger, just trying to get my work done. That was my punishment. So I learned a lot of oldie songs. But other than that, I just had to spend time with my dad. That was how I got to spend time with my dad. And I'm not mad at him for it. So there's still ways to get around your children is what I'm saying. Like that, I don't want to hear the excuse, I work all the time. I just don't want to hear it. Wake up earlier. Well, my kid doesn't want to wake up. Well, because you don't ask him to. You don't make him to. You don't get him excited about it. You don't find ways to create time because you're too busy with all this other crap. And these kids are just running rampant. And I think the biggest thing that's happening in specifically these 3 states is that there is no punishment for the crime anymore.
Yep. There it is.
See, I knew when I spray painted a wall, there was a good chance I was going to pay a fine and possibly go to juvie. I knew that. Did that stop me? No, but did it scare me a little more and make me think smarter about what I was doing, the level and the amount I was doing it at? Yes. And then so did I become this like complete destroyer of everything? No.
But if you knew that you can get away and you're never going to have any
why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah. You're never going to have any consequences.
There are zero consequences. People are physically hurting innocent people.
And this...
Your mom's out there working her face off. Dad's out there working your face off while you're destroying somebody else's car that they are doing the same thing for.
Well, I saw him beating people up.
That too.
Beating the crap out of people.
Yeah.
Videos that I saw, there was like, I don't know, 100 people and like...
Now, me, if I saw that, I'm the first one in there. Don't care if I know any of you. I don't care who. I don't need to know any of you.
Well, those people probably don't exist.
They're scared.
There's real people. There's real men out there, and there's real women out there, and there's real patriots as well. Yeah, well, you know, it's
like pick a side. What's happening right now? These kids are out of control, and I say kids because until you are old enough to live on your own, you are a kid. I don't care what age you are. I don't care if you can legally pick up a drink. Right. If you are legally picking up a beer and go into your mom's house and sit in the basement, you're still a kid. Okay?
All right.
Because you mentally don't have the capacity to figure things out on your own yet. That makes you a kid to me. A child.
So for me, I'm coming back to the consequences thing because and this is something I think the world is, in this country, the world, whatever. This new generations and new generations of parents and new generations of school. Like I got whipped in school. I got a paddle. Yeah. Multiple times from angry teachers, you know, because I was that bad, you know, and I got my butt whipped by paddles in school. There was a couple times my dad would be half lit and have to go up and talk to the principal in a not so friendly manner.
The only thing I was ever mad
happened.
about when it happened was the fact that I got caught. I wasn't mad that it was happening.
Consequences. It's the same thing in recovery, right? Like it's
life.
It is life, right? But I'm gonna take everything back to recovery and addiction, right? Because it's the same thing as recovery. Like I would have never got sober. I would have never changed my life. I would have never changed my behaviors. I would have never became the person that I am today if it wasn't for consequences. If it wasn't for getting caught. I used to have a chip on my shoulder. I used to blame everybody. I used to blame the cops. They're harassing me. They're picking on me. I used to blame the teachers. They don't like me. I used to blame the judge for locking me up. And then I get into prison and I would blame the COs for being a-holes. And they were, and the simple fact is everybody was just doing their jobs. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do besides me, and I blame everyone. But if it wasn't for all of that, if it wasn't sitting in a county jail for 360 some days, in a little room, if it wasn't for the consequences and the hospitals, the homelessness, the sleeping outside, the waking up and being in a coma for 4 days, and if it wasn't for all those horrible consequences, I would have never been who I am, and I would have never have changed. And I think that's what we got to get back to. There has to be consequences.
But see, there's the pushback on that, and I always laugh at it because they always cover the small portion of society where the amount of people that are in their 16 to 18 range, or 16, 17, I guess. So you're close enough to an adult. You make an adult decision. You pay for it as an adult. So you do real time. This is how it used to be, right? This is where the pushback started. So, and they used to say, well, those people don't get reformed. They've now become institutionalized.
Well, then there's a problem with that too. There is issues, right? There's issues there, but there
are so many people out there that I wish would get louder about what they're going through, that did things like Wes Watson is a prime example. He was young when he got busted. Okay. He was in high school driving his fancy cars, attracting a lot of attention, ended up doing time in prison, 10 years. And it drove him to not want to go back to that place.
Yeah.
Right. There are a lot of, I would say more than less. The ones that become institutionalized are the ones that have nothing to look forward to when they get out. They didn't have anything going in, so it has nothing to do with when they got busted. It was going to happen no matter what, because they had no driving force to begin with. So they turned to the streets. That means no matter what, it was always going to be that way. Getting caught at 17 wasn't going to change the institutionalized part of their brain.
Yeah, it either makes you or breaks you, right?
They either wake up from it or they just realize this was life because they're okay with it. That has nothing to do with the institution itself.
Right.
Now, we can do more in the prison systems. I agree with that.
That's kind of where I was going with it. There is stuff that we could do. The whole lack of funding is what they say for all these types of reform programs. And
it says a multi-billion-dollar industry, but okay.
Multi-billion-dollar industry. And if we could send $40 billion to another country, we sure damn can fix this problem, right? We can have more recovery and classes and substance use disorder type programs in penitentiaries, sure. And there's other stuff that you can do. There's a whole lot of other stuff.
Well, there was pit bulls and parolees, right?
Yeah.
A TV show of dog trainers that got huge because they were all convicts, struggled to get jobs. See, here's the thing that I laugh. They say it was hard to get a job with a face tattoo. Okay. It's hard to get a job with a felony. Whatever. Like, there's jobs out there, or make your own.
Make your own.
I did this because I didn't want anybody telling me what I was going to do. So if you don't give me the good job that I think I deserve, I'll go make my own.
Yeah.
That's what I've always done.
And this is America.
So I'm going to live my life my way.
This is America.
Right.
You can make and become anything that you truly want. All you got to do
1,000%.
You have to want it first off, and then you have to be willing to put in. You have to willing to get obsessed with what it takes to get to where you want.
Well, the problem is we're all in this quick fix, right? Like, get on TikTok, go viral, make money. Sure.
Yeah,
that might last.
Look at the percentages
for a couple years.
Well,
but building content is difficult. Yeah. To quality content, right? I can post a video of me driving my car home every day and say I'm building content, right? Like you can do that.
You see this on Facebook now. The new they got the new page, and it's like, what's it say? Content creator versus your regular page,
right?
And then you go on, you look at their page, and it says content creator, and you're like, oh, okay, content creator, and you look, and it's just selfies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can.
I'm like, okay,
if you want to build something real, you have to be entertaining. You have to bring value. Whether it's entertainment value that lets someone escape from their reality at some point in time.
I've been making content for years now.
Wes Watson built a whole entire YouTube channel around telling stories about his 10 years in prison.
Yeah.
I've how he drove through that and what happened on the yard and what it was really like and the politics and, carrying your ID and all of the different levels of the yard and how everything went.
And there's also businesses. And this is America. You can start any kind of, I don't give a crap what it is.
We fantasized it is the problem.
When you was a child, like this was a funny meme, right? Our GoFundMe was mowing the yard, mowing the neighbor's yard and the whole neighborhood's yard.
Absolutely.
That was our GoFundMe.
My mom said, you want those skates? There's a lawnmower right there.
A lawnmower right there. Go knock on doors. Tell people you mow the yard for $10, right? And I did. And I mowed everybody's.
So did I.
Right? There was also other things I did. I was an entrepreneur as a child even. You know what I mean? But to think that go mow the yard for $10 can turn into a multi-million-dollar business. Mowing yards and landscaping, you know what I mean? There are
landscapers out there
you that can, make literally Gary Vee talks about it all the time. You can literally spend your day every day going to yard sales and picking up shit for almost free and reselling it on eBay and make $100,000 a year.
Absolutely.
You can do that easily every day.
You can go to Goodwill. For things that are being missed out on, right? Goodwill's out here of the warehouse where they
nice
the time frames.
Right,
you can. These people just give this stuff away. They don't care.
And you can buy it for $3.
Everybody wants to start the business that makes them look cool. You want to know about some of the biggest businesses right now that are actually being surpassed on?
What?
Storage units.
Oh, it's big.
Laundromats. Things that have I own a laundromat and people just look at you like, whatever. I want to be that business owner on some level someday to have that side business that nobody cares if I own. That's
very little
plenty
overhead.
Of money.
It's called passive income.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And there's so many businesses out here. Like people talk about the problem with their jobs. They hate their jobs. They hate the pay that they're making. And they hate this. Okay, well that's 8 hours a day for 5 days a week. Like I ask all the time, what are you doing in the rest of your day? What's your next 8 hours look like? Because if you are bitching about where you're at in life financially, you can't pay your rent, you can't pay this, you can't do that. It's the government's fault, right? Job sucks. I hate it. My boss is an ass. All that good stuff.
Oh, I've had these conversations.
Have your day job, and then spend your next 8 hours of that day planning for your future.
Well, just like all these kids,
starting your side gig,
some data.
Right?
Yeah.
Start a side gig.
Yeah.
Find what you love and learn how to make money off of it.
They want to get paid more to do less, but they're not providing value. If I give you this, what do I get back in value?
Right.
Because at some point, it's not just because you show up. That doesn't work anymore. Loyalty is only a small portion of the value that you add. Well, it's appreciated. It's expected. So don't act like you're Nostradamus and you're something amazing because you show up on time. Congratulations. That's how most of the world is. What value can you give an upper management or a business owner that validates what you're asking for? And if you can do that, then we'll have a real conversation. And most of the time they can't.
Rule of thumb.
So if you want to go at your boss with a raise, and you walk in there with this is why, and then point out the values that you're adding. You get paid for the value you add, not for the value you think you are.
Right.
Break it down and provide value. It's not a conversation. So these people that hate their jobs because they don't know where they're going. They don't know how to add value. They don't know how to think outside the box and bring it to the table. And they assume because Joe Schmo had a really good talk with you at the break room and went and tried it, according to him, and it didn't work. So that's just never going to work for anybody. Or maybe he's just an idiot. And doesn't know how to talk.
Maybe he sucked.
Right. People assume so much and they don't know how to bring value. So when it comes down to me, like you did, I just start learning more.
Yeah.
Why not? Not because that's going to become my new job, but that's because when someone calls in sick and I can step in, then you realize how important I am. And then when I take a vacation and I come back and people are like, dang, it sucks when you're not here. Now you're adding value. Now you can have a conversation.
Rule of thumb in any job, if you're in any way ambitious, and I think that's a large problem with especially kids.
I'm just being honest with them because 95% of you will never start a business. You'll never know how to start a business. You'll never try to start a business.
But you could.
You'll dream of it. Of course you can, but I'm going to be honest with you. You're just not going to. So let's just stop acting like you are.
Again, I see your point. Again, though, a large problem is no one's ambitious enough anymore. No one is ambitious, and I don't cover that comes from probably back to the parents being entitled, being enabled, being, the world owes you, you're a victim, and all this good stuff, right? I think, one, if you're not going to start a business, stop bitching. If you're going to spend 8 hours, if you're going to spend 40 hours a week working at your job, complaining about your financial problems, I don't want to hear it because you're doing nothing for it. And if you only want to work at that job, rule of thumb, be way more valuable than what you're getting paid.
Life is only
put in way more time than what you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And then keep doing that. Mm-hmm. Keep adding value, like you said. Keep being more valuable. Keep showing up. Keep being on time. Keep being early. Keep staying late. Keep putting your hand up when they're asking somebody to come in on Saturday. Keep doing that. Keep learning, and you'll see a major difference. I know it for a fact because I did it. And sidely, man, look at a side hustle. There's so many avenues out here to make money.
Simple. There's very simple avenues out there.
My guy that mows my yard is a I don't know what his gig is at a very, very good factory that he does. I think he might be a manager or something. He's been there a lot, but he's got a side gig on his 2 days off, and he mows the whole neighborhood's yards for $40-$50 a pop.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
If he's efficient, has the right equipment, he can make an extra $500 to $700 a day.
He does that all summer long. I'd hate to see what he makes. That's cash too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he does good. And he could knock out, I don't know how many, he knocks my yard out in about 15 minutes.
He's got 3 in a row here. He just does all the fronts in one go.
Yeah, he can knock them out.
Efficiency and effectiveness, doing the right thing versus doing things right. Back to like the core of all of this and what we've talked about this before. Like my biggest concern is that humanity is humanity. So at some point, this is going to break. People are going to get sick of getting taken advantage of, getting bullied, getting mobbed. This is the same thing that was happening back in the day before that big bully movement happened. There was a lot of kids that were bigger and they were bullying people. And so humanity stepped up and was like, no, now we're going to try to crush bullying. Like it's going to happen. So all these kids out there that are acting like punks, you're basically setting these kids up to have a very rough life.
Well, things are going to get bad.
Because humanity is going to push back at some point. I do believe in my heart there are more good people than bad. Mm-hmm. And at some point, there's the straw that'll break the camel's back, right? You can only put so much on before all it takes is that one piece of straw.
Yeah.
And then that camel's down, and then it becomes bad.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how everything unfolds in the next couple of years.
So I just want to implore people to be smart, but stand up, say something, make noise. Like you're letting everybody else make all this noise, and then we're complaining about it behind closed doors.
I do put myself in when I see those videos of those kids like beating up this older. It was an older.
Oh, it makes me cringe.
It was an older lady.
Makes me cringe.
Not old, but she was 40, 45 years.
Oh no,
old.
I've seen grown ass men pop off on elderly women. Dude, it makes me cringe.
Dude, they were waylaying, like just a mob of them were waylaying this 45-year-old lady, and I was just like, man, I picture myself being there. I was like, I would just
it'd be bad.
I'd just be rolling through there.
It'd be bad, unfortunate, and that's the sad part is it doesn't have to be like this is a core value thing. This is a genuine core value that we're not teaching kids in school. The golden rule used to be a thing.
Yeah,
do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This is a basic core value of life, but we're not there for these kids. We're not inspiring these kids. They all think they can just get rich off of TikTok, or if they do anything, they're not getting any trouble and play the victim card all day long. Yeah. And somebody gets scared and goes, oh crap, they're going to cancel me, who I still don't know who the cancel culture actually is. I'd love to know where their headquarters is. I just don't know who these people are, what power they have. So where is their headquarters? Because I would just like to knock on the door and say, can we sit down?
But what are like...
gosh, I just want people to just be willing to get on. Nobody wants to get uncomfortable anymore. And that's, I think, the actual root of the biggest problem is nobody wants to have these uncomfortable conversations. This is just it's sad because it's not about mental health because we're not making them any healthier. Mental health has gotten worse. So again, I've said this before, if your trophies were going to work, if your mental health days were going to work, if your sugar coating candy, whatever crap that you were doing was going to work, when's
it work, huh?
Like, how far do we have to go before we realize we're actually destroying the place and that challenge is good? Adversity is good. You want to talk about some of the biggest millionaires in the world were brought up with nothing and they got sick of it. That was a driving force. It wasn't easy, and that makes millionaires. So, and it's not all about money. It's about the chase. It's about understanding that life is life. The storms still roll in. The hurricanes still hit. The tornadoes still drop. The lightning still strikes. None of that will ever change. So why are we acting like if we go to school, stop doing homework so we don't get bad grades, take F's out of the equation, that lightning is all of a sudden going to go away and tornadoes aren't going to drop and the hurricanes aren't going to strike and poverty isn't still a thing? Like, what are we talking about?
Guys,
just come on, guys. Like, let's just stand up a little bit and let's really focus on the real mental health thing that's happening. Change is good. Challenge is good. Adversity is good. These things are good. It has been a test of time since Rome wasn't built in a day. Like, if you go back to what created the world, it was all through tough times.
Yeah.
Easy times create weak people, and we've got some of the weakest people I have ever seen on this planet today worldwide. And it needs to stop.
Real simple. Don't be weak. Don't be weak.
Just don't give in.
We live in a really tough world.
Stick to your core values.
Yeah, man. We love you.
If you don't have any, call us. We'll help.
We love you guys. Please subscribe. Send this over to your friend. We'll see you next week.